sip your zobo or coffee, and let's dive into the revolution, one block at a time. So, and with me today to discuss this topic is our digital mommy, one who lives and breathes blockchain, Mrs. Sipra Poluma, an old seasoned instructor at Digital Assets Management Academy. Mrs. Poluma, welcome to Blockchain World.
Compliments of the day. Thank you for having me today. I don't know, is it possible for somebody to be, can somebody be admitting people coming in, because I can see them on my screen. Admitting people coming into the Zoom. Yeah, I think somebody should
I'm
check
doing that. I'm actually doing that. I'm doing that.
Right. Okay, okay.
All right.
Fine. That's good.
So once again, thank you, Mrs. Poluma, for joining us on this amazing program, where we bring the digital revolution closer to home, block by block. Now, let's delve into our conversation. Let's start with the foundation. In the same way that a ledger records every transaction in a market tool, blockchain too has its own unique structure. So, Mrs. Poluma, what is a block in a blockchain? And what kind of information does it typically contain?
Okay. A block is a collection of transactions that are verified and added to the blockchain ledger. And a block typically contains the block header, such as the number, the timestamp, and the hash of the previous block. Because a block normally follows an earlier block that has been that is existing on the chain. Then the components of this block is one, it has a block header, like I said earlier, and such as the block number, the timestamp, and the hash of the previous block. Then secondly, transaction data. The transaction data is a list of transactions that are verified and added to the block. Then we have the hash as another component of the block. It is a unique digital fingerprint that identifies the block and the contents of the block. For example, if you do a transaction now, it will give you the time you did it, and then it creates, the transaction that you have done for it to be verified, and then on the block and added to the block. Then we have the hash, which is a unique digital fingerprint, like I said. It identifies the block and the contents of the block, whatever transaction you've done. Then we have what we call the Merkle tree. It's a data structure that efficiently verifies the integrity of the transaction within the block. There are other block informations. For example, the block number, which it is an identifier for the block. It is often referred to as the block height. Then we have the timestamp. The timestamp at which the block was created. When you perform the transaction, that's the time start. It takes the timing of that transaction. Then we have what we call the transaction count. That is the number of transactions included in the block. There are, in fact, other characteristics of this block. One, it is immutable. It means it cannot be altered once they are added to the blockchain. Then it is tamper evident, because any attempt to alter the block contents will result in a change to its hash, making it detectable. And then these blocks are linked together through hashes, creating permanent and transparent record. So in a nutshell, blocks are the building blocks of a blockchain, and they play a very crucial role in maintaining the integrity and the security of the blockchain network itself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. You have spoken well and you did justice to the question. So now that we understand the block, let's zoom out and look at the network that keeps those blocks alive.
Yeah.
In the world of blockchains, nodes are like digital witnesses, distributed across the globe, yet connected by one truth. So, Mrs. Poloma, how do nodes function within a blockchain network, and what roles can they play? For example, full nodes and light nodes.
Okay. Nodes are essential components of a blockchain network, and they play various roles in maintaining the integrity and the security, like I earlier said, of the network. The functions of nodes are, I will enumerate as follows. Nodes verify transactions to ensure that they are valid and follow the set rules of the blockchain network. And then secondly, the block validation. Nodes validate blocks to ensure that they contain valid transactions and meet the network's consensus rules. Thirdly, this network, there's equally network communication. These nodes communicate to each other to share information about transactions, about blocks, about the network updates as well. And then the blockchain storage. The nodes store a copy of the transactions of the ledger, which ensures that the network was decentralized and distributed record of all transactions. It's distributed and it is just there. We have type of nodes. The full node, it stores the complete copy of the blockchain ledger, and it verifies these transactions and blocks. Full nodes are very, very essential in maintaining the security and integrity of the network. Then we have what we call the light node. A light node, also known as lightweight node or simplified payment verification node, stores only partial copy of the blockchain ledger, and it relies on full nodes for transaction verification. And then we have what we call the mining node. This is a specialized kind of node that participates in the consensus mechanism, such as the proof of work. We see miners. You know, miners are a typical example. I'm sure some of us have heard about mining rigs. When Bitcoin started, we have miners that were mining, that are mining till today. They are mining Bitcoins. Initially, it started with mining of 50 Bitcoins per 10 minutes. Then with time, because of the difficulty in mining, it gradually reduced. As at today, the mining, the block you can only mine in Bitcoin is 3.125 per 10 minutes. And then we have what we call the validation nodes. A validation node is a node that participates in the consensus mechanism, such as proof of stake, to validate transactions and create new blocks. The role of these nodes, number one, is to help maintain the network by verifying transactions, validating the blocks, and then storing the block on the blockchain ledger. Then secondly, for security, the nodes contribute to the security of the network by verifying these transactions and then storing, verifying the transactions and the blocks, making it difficult for malicious actors to manipulate the blockchain. For example, you can only hack into a wallet of one person, but you cannot hack into the entire chain itself. Because if you do, then it means it is not decentralized. Then we have what we call the decentralization. The nodes helps in decentralizing, to decentralize the network by storing a copy of the ledger and participating mechanisms, those that are participating in the formation of the block. Then we now talk about the nodes can help to improve the scalability of the network by processing transactions and validating these blockchains, these blocks parallel. Because once you initiate a transaction, all those, the computers connected, record these transactions. And so it is parallel. So in summary, nodes are critical components of the blockchain network, and they play various roles, like I said, maintaining the integrity and security, and then the decentralization of the network itself. And I don't know if my the digital chief, my mentor, is in the house. I think he can help us shed more light so that sometimes you find it difficult to assimilate some terms, you understand? Because there are others that want it like what will I call itself? The ordinary person will understand, who may not, get to know these terms. But when you join us in the digital academy, you will get to, know the nitty-gritty of these terms and these jargons that we are using in the blockchain world. So I would love my digital chief, that's our mentor, to come in briefly and say something about the nodes as well for the layman to understand.
So I hope you are with us.
Okay, yeah. Good morning, and thank you for having me in this presentation. Madam Poloma have actually done justice to the explanation, but most times we actually want to distill this knowledge down to the layman on the street, and relating them to what they are used to is very important, because technicality is what confuses the masses in terms of understanding some subjects, just like you have in the law courts. When they get into the litigation of technicalities, they confuse the entire society and the justice can be perverted. So I want to relate this node issue to the regular banking system that we know. The banks are there. In today's banking system, you have transactions being executed by POS machines and ATM machines. The nodes, full nodes could be the bank itself that stores all the information of customers, while the light nodes can be likened to POS machines that initiate transactions from different points. In as much as the banking system is not blockchained, transactions are individually generated from the banks, but in the blockchain ecosystem, nodes communicate with each other, and transactions are initiated and sent to the full node. That's what it is like. So having good understanding of how it happens in the traditional banking system will help anybody to understand the function of the nodes, the content of the blocks, and the rest of them. So the jargons used in the interpretation should not confuse anyone. The only difference is that blockchain integrates all the transactions together and line them up based on the consensus in a chain by linking each transaction to the other and decentralizing them, meaning the decentralization means that every node in every part of the world are connected to each other, unlike the POS machines, which are only connected to the bank in the traditional system of banking. But in the blockchain ecosystem, nodes are connected to each other and to the central full node. That's why you can't hack the blockchain. Yes, a hacker can hack an exchange or a wallet or a personal phone but they can't hack the blockchain. And that's why you see transactions on blockchain are transparent, because everyone, full nodes or light nodes, can view transactions as it is and the timestamp. So that's what it actually is in a layman language. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to throw more light on that.
Thank you very much, sir. You actually have done justice to the topic, and you just dissect and digest everything to the skeleton. Thank you very much, sir, for your contribution. So, ma'am, back to our question, Mrs. Puluma. Of course, having multiple nodes raises a critical question. But how do they agree on what's true? And that's actually brings us to the soul of decentralization, which is consensus. The question is, why is consensus necessary in a decentralized blockchain system, and what problems does it solve? Let me go again. Why is consensus necessary in a decentralized blockchain system, and what problems does it solve?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Consensus mechanisms are algorithms used to achieve agreement among nodes on a blockchain. And here are some of the common consensus mechanisms that we have. We have what we call proof of work, POW. Where there's proof of work, the miners compete to solve a complex problem, mathematical problem or a puzzle that requires significant computation power. And then these miners who solve the puzzle first gets rewarded. He creates a block and adds it to the blockchain. And then under proof of work, it is really energy intensive. For those that are familiar with mining and miners, we discover there are miners, people buy mining machines and store them in a certain place, and they have to run on power 24/7 for them to solve these mathematical problems. So the one that solves the mathematical problem first now gets rewarded. That is what we call the, like for Bitcoin, like I said earlier, on every 10 minutes, 50 Bitcoins are mined at the onset. But as at today, after the last fork last year, it has dropped because of the mining difficulty. It has now dropped to 3.125 per every 10 minutes. A Bitcoin is mined. And then we have what we call, and we discovered that this consumes a lot of energy. And so wherever you find maybe a mining pool, or where people buy their, mining rigs and store, it must have, it's energy intensive. There must be energy 24/7. So that's why proof of work is like hard work. Then we have what we call proof of stake. Under proof of stake, validators are chosen to create blocks based on an amount of cryptocurrency that they hold. Validators with more stake have a higher chance of being chosen to create a new block. And then this proof of stake is energy efficient. We have other consensus mechanisms like delegated proof of stake. Here is a variant of pure proof of stake where users vote to validate, for validators to create new blocks. And then we have what we call proof of authority. Here, a consensus mechanism that relies on the reputation and identity of the validators is used. Then we have lastly what we call BFT, or Byzantine fault tolerance. In this case, a consensus mechanism can be tolerated to a certain number of faulty nodes in the network. The key differences between proof of stake and proof of work is that proof of stake and other consensus mechanisms are more energy efficient than proof of work that requires energy to even power the mining rigs that perform the work. Then proof of work is considered more secure than proof of stake, as it requires a significant computational power to attack the network. Then we have the scalability. So proof of stake and other consensus mechanisms are more scalable than the proof of work. And in a nutshell, in summary, each consensus mechanism has its strengths and weaknesses. And the choice of the mechanism depends on the specific use case and requirements of the blockchain network. Basically, that is what it is. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. And before we proceed, I would like to remind us all that this program is being sponsored by Diaspora Digital Media, DDM, and Digital Assets Management Academy that is based in Abuja. So if you want to join the academy, I'll drop a number, I'll leave a number in the comment section. You pick the number and contact us through the number. And Diaspora Digital Media, we have an academy also. The academy, the Cohort 5 is just on the horizon. It will start next month, the 12th of May. So if you want to join the academy, have online and offline. Also, if you want to join, you visit our website at ddm.com or join our social media platform at Diaspora Digital Media on YouTube, Diaspora DM on Instagram and Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, and there's a Nigerian Digital Media, Facebook. So we'll proceed. We'll continue with our question. So, Ma, you explained a lot about consensus and you've done justice to the topic. And you explained consensus like democracy. It comes in many forms, from miners in proof of work to validators in proof of stake. Each mechanism has its own method and its own costs. So, but what are some common consensus mechanisms? I mean, like proof of work, proof of stake. I think you even touched it earlier. And how do they differ? I mean, the differences between the proof of work and proof of stake.
Hello?
Are you with me, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm with you, but I didn't hear your last statement.
Yeah, as I said, the last statement, I said, what are some common consensus mechanisms like proof of work and proof of stake that you explained earlier, and how do they differ?
Like I said earlier, in proof of work is the miners that help to solve complex mathematical puzzles. And then the one that solves first gets rewarded. And then because it is his block now that will now be added to the blockchain. And then, like I said, it is energy intensive. Whereas the proof of stake, it is validators that are chosen, to create the blocks based on the amount of cryptocurrency that they hold, that they have staked or they hold. And then the stake, the validators are with more or higher chance, the ones that stake more, have the higher chance of being chosen to form a new block. And then, like I said earlier, the proof of stake is more energy efficient, unlike the proof of work. And there, like I earlier mentioned, there are other, other nodes. But the key differences is that proof of stake and other consensus that we have all along are energy efficient, unlike the proof of work, where you find mining of Bitcoin is more energy, it consumes more energy because these mining rigs have to work 24/7. So there must be electricity, it must be powered, for it to work. But in terms of security, the proof of work is more secured because the computational power is of proof of stake can be subject to attack. And then we said the scalability, like I earlier mentioned, is more scalable than the proof of work. And equally here, I would like my mentor to say, to give us a preamble so that the layman will understand. You know, the terms for somebody who is a beginner, who is just coming, may not be able to grasp these big grammar and jargons that we're talking about. So my mentor can ably come in and give us, one thing about this, my mentor, is that he is a seasoned banker, a digital chief. So he'll bring us to term with what the layman will understand, linking it with the banking, the conventional banks that we have. So digital chief will add a little bit more on what I've just said. Thank you.
Okay, Ma, thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to make a contribution to this explanation. I want to believe that the world is listening to us, and to make it more simpler to the understanding of everyone out there, we have to relate the explanations to what the global society are used to, so that they will connect in the middle and be able to navigate their way towards the industry of the future called blockchain. Now, using Bitcoin as a case study as provided by you in the course of your discussion, the mining of Bitcoin in the early days was done by a simple Android or iOS phones. But when the mining difficulty increased due to adoption, now let me liken it to network provision or telecommunication. At a time when you make a call, you will hear congestion. But when broadband came into the scene and increased the size of their coverage, many more calls were connected, and those difficulties reduced. So in blockchain is a similar thing. The only difference between the real life systems and the blockchain is because of decentralization, which makes the financial system of the world to stop what is called double spending, because every transaction on blockchain is connected to each other. Unlike the traditional systems where we have one point of failure, where the transactions are controlled from one point. In the blockchain, transactions are decentralized and connected to every node. Nodes are like computers scattered all over the world that participate in the verification of transactions. Just like InterSwitch do the same thing in interbank transactions in the traditional banking system, especially in the country where I come from, Nigeria. InterSwitch, before now, transactions are being settled with the central banks But with technological advancements, transactions are now being settled by interswitch, and that's why transactions are swift these days. So, but on blockchain, miners are the nodes that verify transactions on blockchain. And the Bitcoin blockchain makes use of proof of work, which means the verification of the mathematical solutions offered to the nodes to bring out another transaction. That's what is called mining. Bitcoin is designed in such a way that every Bitcoin that comes into the market is mined. And miners are those is a full node or light node that participates in the verification of transactions. So when they verify a transaction and validates it, a new block is released to the miner who does that. And that's how Bitcoin comes into being. In the early days of Bitcoin mining, 50 Bitcoins were being released to every miner that solved the mathematical equation. But due to the algorithm that Bitcoin, the programming of Bitcoin that makes it in such a way that halving, that's reduction in the supply of Bitcoin by 50%. And after the first 4 years, the miners get 25 Bitcoins every 10 minutes through the proof of work mechanism. The second halving saw them getting 12.5, the third halving 6.25, and the last halving that happened last year made them to be getting 3.125 BTC every 10 minutes. So this is the reason Bitcoin gets scarce in the markets and projects the price to keep going up. So in cryptocurrency generally, the more the demand for a particular crypto token or cryptocurrency, the higher the price. As it is said in the law of demand, the cryptocurrency ecosystem obeys the natural forces of law of the demand and supply, which means the higher the demand for a particular coin, the higher the price goes up. And the higher the supply, the less the price goes down. So getting this understanding and attributing it to mining difficulty means that the more adoption, the more the masses adopt a particular Bitcoin, a particular cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, the more the difficulty. And that was why the use of personal phones to mine Bitcoin stopped, and the engagement of machines. And so if you find out, do a research on those who mine Bitcoin currently, they have to pile up a lot of computers together, sophisticated algorithms put together as nodes to be able to mine Bitcoin, which consumes a lot of energy. That's the mining difficulty, because many people have come into the ecosystem to mine the token. So this is what generates the mining difficulty. But because it is decentralized, it makes it easier to achieve the verification of transactions on the blockchain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your contribution. And actually, this program is more than just a program about blockchain. It is a wake-up call for us Africans, because we are not moving in the right direction. And I think that's what Diaspora Digital Media and DAMA stands for, making sure that we change the narrative for the generation unborn. My father usually said the only way that we can live is if we grow. And the only way that we can grow is if we change. And the only way that we can change is if we learn. So the only constant in life is change and learning. My fellow audience, please make sure that you invite your people to come and tap from this vast knowledge of these people that are sharing it for free for us here. And so we continue. Now, I think now let's get a bit more technical. Once blocks are proposed, How do you not verify and decide which one to accept? This is where digital trust get tested. So the question is, how do you not verify and agree on which block are valid during the consensus process? Mrs. Boluma, let me come again. How do you not verify and agree on which blocks are valid during the consensus process? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The nodes verify and agree on valid blockchains through a multiple of steps. The verification processes are like this. Nodes verify the transactions within a block to ensure that they are valid and follow the network's rule. The nodes verify the block structure, including the header, transactions, and hash. Am I? All right. Can I go ahead now?
Yes, you can go ahead, ma'am.
All right. Like I said earlier, the verification processes, there are processes. One, the nodes verify the transactions within a block to ensure that they are valid and they follow the network's rule. And then secondly, the nodes verify the block structure, including the header, the transactions, and the hash. The hash also ensures that it meets the network's difficulty requirements. The consensus processes are as follows. The nodes broadcast new blocks to the network. The nodes verify the when a user initiates a transaction, the transaction is broadcast to the network. And then a block is created. And the nodes
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
We can hear you now.
Okay, good. So these nodes, the consensus process is like as follows. The nodes broadcast new blocks to the network, and then the nodes verify the blocks they receive, ensuring that they meet the network's rules and the validation requirements. And then these nodes reach a consensus on the validity of the block through a consensus mechanism, such as the proof of work, as in the case of like Bitcoin, or proof of stake, as in the case of the others that are more energy efficient. And then once the consensus is reached, the new block is now added to the blockchain. But there are agreement mechanisms. In proof of work, the nodes agree on the longest chain, which is the chain with the most cumulative work. If you remember earlier, I said the one that solves the mathematical puzzle first gets rewarded and the block is added. So the nodes are also the stake-based voting. That is the proof of stake. Nodes, it's only on the vote of the block that is based on what is staked, with validators having more influence, on their stake. Why? Because somebody might stake maybe 10%, or he owns the last chunk of a stake. That is how these agreement mechanisms work. Also, there's what we call network synchronization. The nodes synchronize their blockchain ledgers to ensure that everyone has the same version, because these are chain of computers that are working at the same time, using the same information that is imputed. So they have the same version of the blockchain. But in case there are conflicts, the nodes resolve them through consensus mechanism, ensuring that the network converges on a single version of the blockchain. It is through this process that the nodes verify, agree on a valid blockchain, and ensure that it has integrity and the security of the blockchain on the blockchain network. And I think maybe it may be a bit harder if maybe Mr. Paul Elumba is on the line, he can assist us to break it down for the layman to understand better.
All right, Mr. Paul Elumba, are you with us?
Yeah. Hello, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm not in a position to talk much now, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll hand it over to the digital chief if he's available to give us a little bit down to earth for the layman to understand. Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Okay, please, can you kindly come up with the question again? I've been struggling with network here, but
okay,
I didn't get the picture of the question. Let me get the picture and know what to do and say about it.
We're talking about how do nodes verify and agree on which blocks that are valid during a consensus process. So I was able to talk about the verification.
That's actually a very simple process, because when transactions are valid, that meets up the requirements of the nodes, it is verified. And it is something that is being done by the computers. So when you send in a wrong transaction, it is being validated across that. That's what confirmation comes in. Each node confirms the transaction and validates it, almost done at the same time. But when the transaction does not meet the requirements of the node, it will be rejected immediately and the transaction bounces back. Yes, in the early days of blockchain transactions, when you make a wrong transaction, the money goes finally and is thrown into the dark hole, the null wallets. But as blockchain advanced, transaction gets rejected by nodes when they don't meet the requirements. For instance, there are some transactions you initiate and the system will reject it, so you don't make the mistake of sending the asset out of your wallet. But there are some transactions you will do, as long as it leaves your wallet, it goes into the null hole because it is not a valid transaction. The nodes can still verify it as a transaction, but it's a wrong transaction. But some systems reject ill-initiated transactions and bounce them back so that the asset does not leave the wallet of the initiator of the transaction and the node rejects it. So that's how nodes validate and verify transactions on the blockchain. It's just like sending money into a wrong account. If the account is not valid, your system will tell you error. If it is valid, it will be accepted by the system and the money will be moved to the receiver. But in blockchain, once a transaction is initiated, it will be verified, and once it is validated, it is added to the block of transactions that exist within this timestamp.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for your contribution. And we proceed to our next question, which I think is the last question before we go to the question and answer session. So what happens when the trust is momentarily broken? I mean, sometimes two blocks emerge at once, a fork in the road. Let's explore how the system handles disagreements. So my question is, what happens when two different nodes propose conflicting block at the same time? What we call a blockchain fork. Let me come again. What happens when two different nodes propose conflicting blocks at the same time? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, can I come in here?
All right, go ahead, sir.
Okay, basically, this is a technical question that needs a lot of insight.
Yeah.
When two nodes submit transaction, which leads to a fork, what it gives is a kind of disagreement in the consensus mechanism. It's a kind of disagreement where two nodes differ on the algorithm that makes up of a block. A fork arises. This is what gives birth to something like a vision diversion. Let me give you a practical example. In the early days of blockchain, after Bitcoin was developed and minted, there was a disagreement in the consensus mechanism that gave birth to Bitcoin Satoshi vision and Bitcoin Cash. These were misunderstandings in the consensus ecosystem. For instance, the Bitcoin algorithm did not start with smart contracts. And let's assume we are 5 that make up the consensus that gave birth to the Bitcoin blockchain. And one of us came up with a fact that we didn't capture a particular functionality in the algorithm. That means another node is differing from the consensus mechanism. So that node will initiate another process of minting a new token. That's what is called a fork. So Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Satoshi Vision were forks of the Bitcoin blockchain. So this is what you see when consensus mechanisms doesn't differ in the submission of transactions. If that explanation meets the requirements, then we'll move on.
Definitely, sir, definitely. You have done justice to the topic. Okay. So I would like to bring Mrs. Poluma, if there is any addition to what he said.
Yeah, like he has already given us, there was even a fork in Ethereum as well that brought about Ethereum Classic as a coin as well. It's there was a split because of this very particular issue. So in summary, the blockchain forks can occur due to conflicting blocks, but the network consensus mechanisms and nodes, they agree to help to solve the problem by creating, another. Yeah, exactly. It creates another coin, just as we gave the 2 examples of the Bitcoin Cash fork and then the the Ethereum Classic
Bitcoin Satoshi Vision.
And the Bitcoin Satoshi Vision as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Basically, sorry, let me just come in. Basically, it is like a disagreement between committees that are running the same vision. Once they can't agree to put up a particular functionality for a project, there is a fork. So that disagreement is like separating a party that is working together because of divergent visions. So in the blockchain, the consensus is like a committee that are supposed to be doing one thing. So when they disagree, they have divergent vision, and it brings a fork of the original vision of the project. So BSV, which is Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, is projecting that what the initial blockchain minted as Bitcoin was not actually the vision of the founder of the project Bitcoin. So that's why they call the second fork of Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. So they are projecting that what BSV has is the original vision of blockchain. So once there is a disagreement and it cannot be resolved, it gives rise to another coin, which is called the fork of the first. And most times the name starts with the mother name of the coin, like Ethereum Classic, Luna and Luna Classic, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and a whole lot of them that are in that line. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the insight. I think now we delve into the question and answer session. To our audience, anyone that has question should indicate by raising a hand, and I'll pick the person that will ask the question and direct the question to the appropriate channel to be answered. And you have 2 minutes for each question because of time. So our audience, if you have question, indicate by raising your hand. Thank you. So let us not forget this program is being sponsored by Diaspora Digital Media, DDM, and Digital Assets Management Academy based in Abuja. You can follow us on our social media platforms at Diaspora Digital Media on YouTube, Diaspora DM on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, and Nigerian Digital Media on Facebook. And I drop a number in the comment section. Pick the number if you want to join the Digital Assets Management Academy that is based in Abuja. Thank you once again. I'm not seeing any hand. If you have question, raise your hand.
Yeah. Good morning, sir. Hello.
Hello, I can hear you, sir.
I think he's muted.
Hello. So I think we don't have question for now because I'm not seeing any hand. Can you hear me, ma?
Yeah, I can
Mrs.
hear you.
Paloma, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Alright.
you. I think Digital Chief wanted to say something, but he's muted.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe he's having some technical issues. Maybe. Digital Chief, can you hear me? Are you with us? Hello? I think he's having some technical.
Yeah, it was a technical disconnection, so I had to mute my speaker to attend to the caller. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Sorry about that.
No problem, sir. So I thought you wanted to say something.
No, I was actually attending to a call.
All right, sir. So I think we don't have question. Because I didn't see, I don't see any hand.
Any hand?
Yeah. But from our speakers, Mr. Akin, Mr. Moses, Mr. Elumba, our digital chief, and our mommy, Mrs. Oluma. Is there any addition from your side?
I think basically the Dharma Academy is where it is happening. And in as much as, yes, we have paid classes for those that are domiciled in Abuja, physical classes, we equally have online classes that are paid where you will get the nitty gritty. What we share here free is just the primary knowledge that one needs and requires. But if you want in-depth knowledge to get more, to understand the basics about the blockchain and digital asset management, we would love to have you in our academy so that you will learn it as it is with, you know, where we'll share real proofs. Sometimes when you are online in an interview, you discover that the time span is limited for you to share certain nitty-gritties and details. So I'll encourage our listeners here, those who are not part of the Dharma Academy, to make it a date with us at the Academy. We have 3 online trainings that are free within the week. Every Monday, 10 o'clock and 10 a.m. Nigerian time, and then 8 p.m. Nigerian time. Then on Wednesday, a day like this, where we have, in collaboration with DDM, we have another live transforming knowledge that we give. And then on Fridays as well. So make it a date and a time with us so that you will be a partaker of this transformation that is just evident it has come to stay. So even if you say it's not going to happen, it's going to, it has happened. Maybe it has not gotten to you. That's just it. So keep a date with us so that you learn and even share your learning with others. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution, Mark. And Mr. Paul Elumba. Mr. Paul Elumba.
I have something to say, please.
Thank you very much.
If you will permit me.
All right, sir. Mr. Paul Elumba raised his hand. So maybe after he speaks, you come after him.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, Paul Elumba is my name, LOP. I want to also quickly add something that our listeners need to know concerning when we say Bitcoin mining, block, and stuff like that. From our previous presentations, you must have known now that most other so-called mining platforms, many of them are just scam platforms that are not really involved in something that has to do with blockchain. Some will claim that you can come and invest on their platform, they are mining, they are doing this, they are doing that, and that they'll be giving you a specific amount for every day, like on a daily basis. Most of those things are all scam platforms. They are not really running on blockchain. You can see what happened recently in Nigeria and across Africa when some scammers came with so-called decentralized platform or decentralized blockchain and come and rip off a lot of people of their hard-earned money and went away. All those things are not really running on blockchain. when something is running on blockchain, you are in control of your fund. If you invest, if you are a miner, you are interacting directly with blockchain. Your money is with you. You have not relinquished your money to a particular person to hold for you and then be giving you some so-called promised money. No. That's why it is important that everyone should learn how to do these things, how to create wallets, how to interact with the ecosystem, so that you don't get scammed. No one should come and tell you to come and invest on our platform that we are miners. No. So in our subsequent programs, we are going to teach how to create a wallet and how to start interacting with the system, how to even convert your money from Naira or CD or shillings to digital currencies. To start doing this thing, that will be the next thing we are going to teach, so that you don't get scammed or by somebody coming to ask you to come and invest in any so-called platform that will be promising to be giving you so and so amount of money. But those things are all scam platforms. Your money should be under your control. You sell when you want to sell, you invest when you want to invest in, and your money is under your 100% control. Nobody is controlling it for you. That's just what I want to chip in this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution, sir. Digital Chief.
Yeah, I'm here.
I think you can have the mic. Yes, sir.
Okay, basically, what I want to contribute lastly has, because
I think the digital chief is having technical issues once again. So is there any contribution, Mr. Aki? Mr. Moses Obaje? Any contribution?
Mr. Victor has raised his hand.
hello.
Yeah.
Victor.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Digital Chief is
Mr.
back.
Victor, you can have the mic. Yeah,
you
can have the mic, Mr. Victor.
I think Digital Chief is back.
Okay. Can you hear me? I can hear you, Madam Poloma.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay, I was saying that the challenge with the society out there in adopting blockchain-based programs is a function of lack of knowledge. Now, I want to liken it to the advent of computers as against typewriter. Nobody in today's world would want to use typewriter where there is a computer beside him or her. So not transiting to the application of blockchain in our daily lives in the society at large is a function of lack of knowledge, because blockchain achieved 4 distinct characteristics, finance in particular, which has to do with, number one, is blockchain made money to become an asset that is appreciable or that fluctuates in value. In the early days of Bitcoin in 2010, 10 cents of a dollar. As we speak, 1 Bitcoin is in the neighborhood of $100,000. Now imagine an investment in Bitcoin and what it will become. Compare it with an investment in the regular banking system. If you and I made an investment, had 1 million naira invested in Bitcoin, be left in the system. Today, your 1 million naira invested in Bitcoin, $10 million exchange with your local currency, you will know what it means. The banking system would be devalued more than 1,000 times. So the application of blockchain is transformational. And like I said, it could become of computer further against typewriter. So anybody that fails to adopt blockchain in his financial life might be said to be using typewriter in a digital age where there is need to transit to computer systems as a better way of doing business. So is to pay attention to this partnership that and come and learn, understand where the world is going to. Thank you. Share this information with the public.
Thank you very much, sir. And what I take from his statement is not venturing or using blockchain is tantamount to going back to the Stone Age, which is actually true. The world is moving digital, so we must move with it. Change is the only constant in this world. So, Mr. Victor, are you with us? You can have the mic now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Omar. I want to commend our speaker, Madam Paloma, for well done. Thank you for shared knowledge. Pray for grace to do more. Thank you very much. And I want to use the opportunity to equally tell everyone who is on the call. This knowledge is power, we're told. And we know that in this part of the world, adopting and learning is difficult. Even when you present it free for people to come and learn, all they are worried about is the amount of data they are going to find. Some people don't join because they consider that waste data. If you desire knowledge in this 1st century and if you understand where the world is going, you will not only take advantage yourself, you want to invite your children and your loved ones who are not even taught some of these things in the university to come and take advantage and learn freely because this is where the world is going. Those who study computer science, they have a bit of advantage in knowledge. But those of us who do not study computer science know that the world will not wait for you. You have a free opportunity, as we have presented as the Dharma in conjunction with the DDM presented to us. Please do well to invite people to come and learn, really learn what it is. That's my contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your contribution. I don't know, Mr. Moses Obaje, do you have anything for us? Mr. Aki also, if you have anything, if you don't have anything, then we call it a day.
All right, good afternoon. I've been battling with network since, but I want to seize this opportunity to cut cap for my digital mama for that awesome educational line she has given on to us this morning. I always say that no knowledge is a waste. You've said a lot that have opened my eyes to other aspects that I have not taken my time to look into as far as blockchain is concerned. All I want us to know is that a blockchain has come to stay. It might be very vast.
I think he's having some technical issues.
You can just decide to pick an aspect and boom. Yes, I still have a lot of technical issues, but I just wish us all well. I want to appreciate the mastermind himself, the digital chief, for his clear contributions with real life applications of what we've just discussed this day. So, gentlemen and ladies, if you are left behind as far as blockchain, digital assets, and artificial intelligence are concerned, then you just need to have a rethink. Join the Academy. This is just the tip of the iceberg, right? So that you can become so educated with regards to blockchain, digital assets, cryptocurrency, and artificial intelligence. Thank you for having me this morning, and I wish us all the best. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim, for that wonderful outing. More grace. Bye and out.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your contribution. And there we have it, my people. From the building blocks of digital truths to the invisible web of nodes that holds them, and the consensus protocols that knit the entire fabric together. Today, we have not just explored how blockchain works, we have understood why it matters. A big thank you to Mrs. Shipra Poluma, I'm sorry if I called the name correctly, and our digital chief for distilling the complexity of blockchain into language that speaks to both the curious mind and the everyday Nigerian entrepreneur. And also the sponsors of this program, Diaspora Digital Media, DDM, and Digital Assets Management Academy, DAMA. That's sponsor this program. We are watching now. And they both serve, you can both join their academy. What have we learned today is the question. We learned that a blockchain isn't just data, it is digital memory. We learned also that a node isn't just a computer, it is a custodian of truths, and that consensus isn't just agreement, it is the very heartbeat of decentralization. In a continent where central systems have so often failed us, blockchain offers a radically different possibility: transparency without tyranny, security without centralization. But let me leave you with this. Blockchain is not just code, it is culture, a culture of accountability, of trust, and decentralizing power. So whether you are a tech enthusiast or a startup dreamer, this is your time to plug in, learn, and build, because the future is not coming, it is already here. This has been Blockchain World today. And don't forget, this program runs every Wednesday and Friday, 11 a.m. West African time. I remain your host, Ibrahim Umar Wase. Stay curious, stay bold, and as always, stay building. And bye for now.